next, we'll have a video from Jaws Kiosk.
Seen from above an urban skyline, a treed plaza.
In 2019, $38 billion was spent just in restaurants on self-service.
An airport.
From airports and train stations to government offices, restaurants, grocery stores, and retailers, the use of kiosk machines is widespread as a convenience for customers. And while technology continues to advance,
A red-tipped white cane.
a whole portion of the population is being left behind.
A man navigates with a white cane.
And with 285 million legally blind people around the world, how do we make kiosks accessible?
A woman at a kiosk.
With JAWS Kiosk, we created a way to bring a new dimension of accessibility and a powerful contribution to providing a full customer experience for the blind and low vision.
A kiosk. Start here. To the right of a screen, an alternate keypad. A man presses a blue diamond-shaped button.
Welcome to Jaws Kiosk. Menu items, donuts. Press the right arrow to move to the first donut.
JAWS software will revolutionize self-service kiosk accessibility, creating a user experience that is accessible across the spectrum of disability needs.
What is the reason for this visit? Voter registration. Press the middle key to activate.
Supports over 30 languages and the same interface for all customers, configured to work with Storm assistive technology devices.
Swipe your card to continue. Your card has been billed for $6.13.
JAWS Kiosk is deployed in over 10,000 kiosks in North America.
Please proceed to the front counter. Your order is number 2506.
It's efficient and easy, all powered by JAWS.
The JAWS Kiosk logo, an animated smiling shark. JAWS Kiosk, the Paciello Group.
Introducing Laura Bonillo Miller, who is the corporate business development manager of Vispero, who make JAWS Kiosk. So Laura, thank you for joining us today, and I guess I'll hand it over to the judges for questions.
Thank you.
So Laura, this is something that this is added technology to existing kiosk solutions?
Yeah, so it can be used, added to existing kiosk solutions, and it is a modified version of JAWS that is customized for kiosk use. So it's specifically for kiosks.
Is there a standard platform for kiosk, or is JAWS, is there like an SDK, or like how, I'm just curious how this is like integrated.
So typically, historically, kiosks are largely Windows-based. However, in more recent years, they are Android. Some older ones are Linux, and then iOS. However, I would say that the Windows kiosks are typically the payment kiosks, and those kiosks, JAWS runs on all almost most of the current Windows operating systems. And you would install this to the operating system itself. It would have to be installed by the kiosk deployer. So the company who is deploying the kiosk has to have this installed, because someone who is blind or has low vision cannot install software assistive technology on a kiosk. The very nature of kiosks is that they're locked down and they're secure. And so you can't add your own assistive technology to it. And so JAWS Kiosk has to be installed and available for people in order for them to use assistive technology on a kiosk.
Is this similar to what I experienced at Bank of America when I plug in my headset?
So I'm not sure if Bank of America, you're talking about at the ATMs?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so it's ATMs use different technology. They don't use screen reader technology, or at least not anything like JAWS. It's typically a little bit more, there's some self-voicing, and I'm not really sure. ATMs are a totally different sort of ball game from the old school ATMs. The newer things, if you were going to a Bank of America inner kiosk that's not necessarily an ATM, that allows you to do more than just take out money or deposit money, those would be more of a kiosk environment where you would use JAWS. But so it is similar in terms of the requirements.
the announcement from the company was September of 2019 that they were introducing this. It gives a very nice piece on your background. So tell us what the business model is, where you're going, and because of your I guess you're co-chair of the accessibility arm of the Kiosk Association. Where are you guys going in terms of business model on this?
Sure. So the legal the law on kiosks right now and kiosk accessibility is being defined by court cases. And so where this is going is that we're hoping that the law becomes somewhat more clear as to the requirements. Currently, all of the court cases that have been settled, the vast majority of them end up with agreements to add screen readers and tactile input devices to kiosks to make them more usable by people with disabilities. And so we see this as becoming more of a demand, more of an imperative that companies who are concerned about litigation, so therefore primarily US-based companies, will see that they need to do this in order to avoid having to retrofit kiosks at a later date. Basically, it will become an imperative just because that's what we've seen. And that's what we're seeing the direction of things is right now we're driving it. We're trying to educate the industry to get them to install it. But over time, we see it being more client demanded. The clients are actually demanding it. So I believe we have someone from Marriott here. So somebody like a Marriott would go to the company they're buying their kiosk from and say, hey, how accessible is this? Because they know that they need their kiosks to be accessible because the kiosk industry, the manufacturers are not driving this. Their clients have to drive it. And by clients, I mean the B2B, the hotels. There are some transit laws that do demand kiosks be accessible other than just ADA, so the ACAA. And so transportation is a little more clear about it, but yeah, the travel industry in general, I see this as pretty critical.
I have a couple more questions, but maybe I'll save it for the you're doing a private room? Because I know we're gonna run out of time. Okay, I'll save those.
Thank you. Well, unless anyone else.
But you're on mute, Jake.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I see this as an ideal product for visitor center kiosks. And there are a lot of states and CVBs and destinations that have those. But they'd have to be, how would this software be integrated into those kiosks and what would it cost typically?
So the software itself is an annual license. It is, if you're just buying one, it would be $250 for the software. But that's if you're buying one. For larger corporations that are deploying a lot of kiosks, that obviously is not where you would go. And in addition, you have to make sure that your application is accessible, that it's following WCAG guidelines, and so that the screen reader can actually read it. And so we do see there being a little bit of additional attention that needs to be paid to the kiosk software, the application that's running on the kiosk.
Okay.
Is that part of your business model? But I could see that as an opportunity for Vispero, I guess, to.
Yeah, so TPGI, or the Paciello Group, is one of the companies that Vispero owns, and that is an accessibility consultancy. And so hardware accessibility review, software accessibility review, that is part of the business model. It's just not under the Freedom Scientific branch that JAWS is under. So yes, it is part of the Vispero team. And that's why we're perfectly positioned for this, is that we have the software, we have the accessibility consulting. There's no one else that does both and that can control both equally.
Yeah, it seems like your biggest challenge is adoption, because to your point, it's not a mandate. It's kind of a mandate, but it's not very specifically mandated.
I think you just summarized my entire elevator speech only. It's kind of a mandate. I mean, it's a mandate after the fact. It should be a mandate. It really is a mandate. Like, it is. It's very vague, but also specific. I mean, the ADA is, everything must be accessible, right? So if you follow that, then if someone can walk up to a kiosk and not use it, then it is not conformant to ADA.
Well, I think it speaks to the how, like the challenge is the how, like because folks don't know how. So your job is like really marketing at this point.
Yep.
So I want to commend you for offering this product at an incredibly affordable price, and it's something that everybody that has a kiosk can basically afford and make it accessible for people who are visually disabled. So I think now we're going to move to the next presenter.
Thanks, Laura.
Yeah, Laura, thank you so much for joining us, and yeah, thank you very much for sharing.